Here we are, Season 9, our largest ever season. Thanks, Graham, for joining me. Say hi, Graham.
Hi, Graham.
Here we go. So we're going to take a look at all 36 teams, the 12 returning and the 24 new, and have a little chat about who we think is going to do well, who we think is going to struggle, etc., etc. So, without further ado, shall we start with Division 1?
Yeah, can do.
All right. So, let's take a look at the Uzkalak Bulls, current champions. This is potentially the first time a team could win the playoffs 2 seasons in a row, which would be interesting. And to be honest, looking at the team, it's quite, I would say, likely.
Yeah, his team has everything it needs. When he gets his normal kickoff return guy back, he's got a dedicated scoring hobgoblin. But the key to this roster, and looking at the rest of the league, is he's got Claw Mighty Blow piling on jump up, with block and tackle built in with guard. He's got one cash on the other Claw Mighty Blow, gives it piling on, and he'll just... you can't really mitigate killing that. You just need to kill it first. And not much can go through his armor 9 and realistically kill him quicker than he just deletes your team.
Yeah.
And with all that guard, you getting him more than a 1 dice block is unlikely. You'd have to do a lot of engineering to get a good hit on him. Plus, you've got...
Yeah. I feel like this whole season, for most of the other teams in this league, is going to be mitigating the drag factor of having to play this team at some point.
Yeah. You want to play this team second last, so that you've got a season with a development. You pray to God that some of your good people are injured the game before, get them through, and then buy anyone back who's dead in the last game.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, because these guys, there's a shitload of skills here, but half of them are ones that these players already started with. Yeah. So his TV's not even that high. It's like somewhere in the middle in terms of team value. So he's not even going to be giving away a great deal of inducements.
No, because if the thing that he's got is the guard makes him hard to play against if he positions well. He's got the Agi 3 break tackle, so he can break tackle out fairly easily, then 3-ups for the rest of them. Pick up the ball fairly well with a Blodge Centaur. That Centaur is really strong. The other one's good as a blitzer. He's got a dedicated ball carrier, a Fowler that's got wrestle, which isn't bad. He's got a shed load of guard. And it's the ability just to delete you.
Yeah.
It's not, and it's because he's got the tackle built in and his value's low, as you say. 4 Mighty Blow. You can't, most teams to get this level of power have 2,300, 2,400 rating. He's doing it 600-800k cheaper depending on what kind of team you're running. And he's got a decent amount of players. He's got an Apoth, he's got 3 coaches and cheerleaders, so you're not likely to get a reroll against him. Fan factor 12, so you're not likely to win fame to get the money to buy your players back. And a decent amount of rerolls.
Yep.
He's got no excuse. The only thing that would hurt him is if he gets a shocker of a start of a season and both the claw guys dies and both centaurs die, or strength downs, or because you'd take them on all of them. You'd take movement down, agi down, and armor down, because you don't care. You'll just kill the opponent quicker anyway. It's a very, very good team.
But he's earned it. He's played 2 good seasons, and so he's earned the right to have 1 season with this absolutely horrible team.
Yep, and he's the reason I didn't come back.
Well, 11 other people disagreed, so let's have a look at some of them. MNG United, a team that I knocked out of the playoffs last season with some halflings.
Can't win against halflings. It's a good roster.
It is a good roster.
I think he's going to struggle for the same reason as everyone is. He's in a bashier league now.
Yeah.
So his elfness might not work. The thing he does have going, he's got a shed load of dodge and blodge.
Yeah.
So if he can survive the Chaos Dwarfing and survive the Dwarfing, he should be okay. You shouldn't take that many deaths. He doesn't have line fodder anymore, so those little cash you get at the start of alignment team you don't care about, he doesn't have. And if he buys them,
He can get one.
he could buy
He's got
one.
80k.
Yeah,
He probably should, I think.
yeah, because that'll put him up to what's he got now? 12 players, 13 players in this bashy of a league. Yeah, it's not a
Yeah,
bad shout.
it's worth having it rather than saving the 80k for replacing
Yeah.
things, I think. Well, do you really think it being a bashy league will necessarily be an issue for him? Isn't there some advantage to be gained from that in that no one else is going to be able to out elf him?
Yeah, that's the thing. If it depends on how the Chorfs are the obvious problem, but if say the new teams that I played the Nurgle a lot, he's only got 1 or 2 tackle. If he goes into the arms race of bashing, like you got strings of Mighty Blow and Guard, he won't have tackle, so Sam should be able to run rings around him. So it can help being the only Agi team. It's just because you're armor 7, if you get on that death spiral, like that catch, his star thrower has no real defensive skills. If someone gets a hold of him,
Yeah.
it only takes a couple of bad rolls and your core of your team's being ripped out. His catches are great, his blitzes are great, that throw is really good. His team isn't bad. It's just if he can survive long enough and not get bad injuries. Without bad injuries, he's got a good chance. Because stopping him scoring, not many people will. Because he's putting that ball anywhere on the pitch on a 3-up with a reroll and a 3-up to ignore your interception, catching it on a 2+ with a reroll, then dodging out most places on a 2+ with a reroll.
Yeah.
And at movement 9, he's only got to be 3 squares into your half to dodge out and run through without having to go for it.
And he's got 4 catchers that can do that as well. So even the traditional sort of let's just surround the guys that have run around the gap can't really do that. What about that blitzer at the top there? 1 SPP left. What would you give him next?
He's got sides. If he gets a normal, don't really need sure hand. Leap isn't a bad shout.
Yeah.
Jump up works because it lets you be a bit more aggressive and bashy with him. And if you get knocked over, you can recover back into the play quite well. Leap makes, and because he's got tackle is why I'm thinking that he's quite useful for just going, right, I'll just leap in and 1 dice you. Go for the dice rolls. Or if he wants to go really fruity, Dauntless. Counter the lack of strength with having a block tackle guy who on a 2 or 3+ matches the high strength guys. I found on my Dark Elves, my 1 Dauntless guy made a world of difference.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah, that's a good point actually about this league being bashy. I suppose if he rolls a double, you'd probably be giving him Mighty Blow, right?
Yeah, on any double of Mighty Blow, I'd ignore movement up for it. I'd still give him a strength up. I'd probably still give Magi up, but I'd ignore movement up on a double 5.
Agi up makes him a cage breaker, really, doesn't it?
Yeah, just walking on 4s.
Yeah, and I mean, if he gets leap on someone else, if he gives his other blitzer leap, and he gets an Agi up on that blitzer, then he can walk in for the guard and leap in. But that's a bit of a fairy tale scenario, isn't it? Really.
But with this elf team, if he plays one of the newer teams first and spanks 3 touchdowns in on Jason Voorhees, he's got 1 completion off leveling. He can, with the scoring power of this team, he can level pretty quick. Like he's got 1 catches, 2 touchdowns off getting the level. 1's 1. There's, depending on how he plays and who he's against, and basically if he gets the luck to live, he could explode into a powerhouse. But it's going to be a tough one just because it's hard to survive as elves in a world of bash.
Yeah.
But he should do well. I think he'll do okay. I don't think he's going to be like bottom of the table. He'll probably be in the mix, so to say.
Well, I guess we'll see, won't we? Let's take a look at the Khemri. So all 3 of the teams that we've looked at so far are in their final season.
Oh,
none of these can come back for another season. Nigel Tombguard. Now
in this, you've got to keep it.
Yeah, you've got to keep it
because of the guard. He's been very unlucky that in 6 level ups he hasn't had a single double to give any of them block.
Yeah,
but I can't shed any tears for him because he's got a strength 5 throw row. He's got dodge. movement up and agi up, so he's got a reserve ball picker. His skeletons are. He's actually done really well, unless the skeletons have died, to have not much land on his skellies.
Yeah, that's a good point. Actually, it's a very good point. Yeah.
I reckon this is the season where Decay can become a factor because he's going to be hitting things that can hit him back.
Yeah, I mean, I can't think of many teams that are going to be more terrified of the Claw. Really, yeah. With 4 Tomb Guards, with Decay, one of which has a niggle. Like if I had any opportunity at all, I would be knocking that mummy down, and then I'd be immediately jumping all over it.
Yeah, he's got the foul pieces to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a hard team to play against because that strength 5 and 3 guard in there is still difficult to play against.
Yeah.
But it's the same problem all Khemri teams have. He still might not be able to pick up the ball very well, and if he starts hemorrhaging Tomb Guards, and they're expensive to replace and slow to re-level. So if he loses that stand firm guard, it sets his team back, not just the injury, but the redevelopment time. And he's playing against good teams, so it's not like he can just smash people all over. And his team isn't a power like the Chaos Dwarf. They lose 1 dwarf, not really that big of a deal. He loses 1 Tomb Guardian. It's a substantial hit to how good his team will play on the pitch.
The Blitz Raws as well, like from playing a lot of Khemri myself, those Blitz Raws are really the only decent pieces that you have.
Yeah.
Like the fact that they've got block, that usually you'll probably get Mighty Blow on them or whatever, nice and early. They've got semi-decent movement, they've got 8 armor. Like, I think really the Tomb Guards are amazing because you got 4 of them, but individually they're actually crap, really crap pieces. Yeah. Obviously the skeletons are garbage. The throw raws are essential despite the fact that they suck.
Yeah.
So really, the only decent pieces you got are Blitz Raws. If he can't afford to replace them, like if he has a nightmare game where he loses 2 Blitz Raws, and that's entirely possible considering the Claw Mighty Blow that we're seeing developed, he's going to be in trouble. I would say that's an even scarier risk for him than losing a Tomb Guard.
Because they are his versatility pieces. They've both got Tackle Mighty Blow. The RG3 one I'd say is the better because it's more. You just don't. If you mark it up, he's only got 3 rerolls, so he doesn't really want to dodge away. But if you've got 4 rerolls and a 4-up dodge, you might take it. But Agi 3, movement 6, block, tackle, mighty blow. This is probably the team that's good anti-elf, and anyone who gets a little bit fruity. It'd be looking at giving one of them, like the one who's got the agility up, possibly Dauntless.
Yep.
Just to try to help. Because he just ties Tomb Guards up, but then gives you mobile anti-strength. And I'd be looking at who I'm playing and thinking, can I use that?
Yeah.
Or you give him guard and just make him annoying to play against.
Are you even more kind of incentivized to focus on the Blitz Raws and the Tomb Guards in this team because the Throw Raw is more difficult to knock down than the Tomb Guards?
Yeah.
Anyway.
It's a really good team.
It is a good team. I mean, we've talked about like how dangerous it is to play, but let's not detract from the fact that this is a really nice Khemri team, and I hope he does well.
I hope he does well because Khemri are a hard team. He's stuck through it with 3 seasons.
Yeah.
And he almost quit before he got that strength 5.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, but respect. From a fellow Khemri coach, respect. Let's have a look at these terrible dwarves. Well, I mean, it's going to be amusing because he's bought the Death Roller.
The Death Roller I like for the psychological thing of people try to score quickly, it gets sent off, but then you get the ball and win 2-1.
Yeah.
But I see him getting his shit put in because he's took dodge on a blitzer, don't like it. Blodge on a runner's fine, but I see why he's done it. It gives him a bit of versatility, but you've got no guard.
Yeah, those Longbeards. Why has he got so few level ups on Longbeards?
I think he got like 3 or 4 deaths. I think Phil Demmel's died twice.
Well, that would explain.
Tom Arias died twice. He's had a lot of deaths for a dwarf team.
Would you have taken sidestep on that Troll Slayer?
Yes, I love sidestep on a Slayer.
Yeah.
It means you can. It's when you get frenzied, and you frenzy yourself around. It takes them to put 5 players on you to surf you.
Right,
a lot of good coaches will put a sidestep guy next to the wide zone, sidestep yourself to those sides on, and then on their last frenzy hit, make it so you're going to counter frenzy. He's nearly uncounter frenzyable. There's so many things you can abuse frenzy with where that just completely mitigates it. And some people take stand firm, which is a decent enough, say, third or fourth skill, but there's more pieces get juggernaut than get grab, and grab doesn't work on a blitz.
I think a lot of dwarf coaches shaft themselves by starting with 2 rerolls.
Yeah, I don't know why he's done that.
It is a bit odd. I mean, we'll see a team, a fresh dwarf team later, where he'd done that, and I actually messaged him and said, "Hey, I'd highly recommend taking 3 rerolls because they cost 50k a piece." I assume it was so that you could start with the apothecary, which I kind of get, but not with dwarves.
Yeah, with dwarves, if you've lost a player early on, it doesn't matter what build you've took, you're in trouble. So you shouldn't be dying unless even the chance of getting a dwarf death without having a shocker of a game is really, really low.
Yeah.
And because you generally have 10 or 20k left in the bank, it takes a moderate dice roll to then get the apple first game in.
Yeah.
And because dwarves are good early, you're more likely to win to get the +1. And if you get fame, you're nearly guaranteed it.
I mean, we've just looked at 3 third season teams. This is a second season team, which explains why it looks like it's got so much less development. But even so, I feel like it's a little underdeveloped.
Yeah, this isn't. I wouldn't have brought this back. Not against what it's going up against.
To be fair, he did it to make up the numbers, so trooper.
Well, fair play to him. Yeah.
Yeah, fair play to him. Alright, let's move on. It's Impossibles. The team to watch, Tenderfoot Trophy champions of last season.
My biggest issue with his roster is having played against a lot of lizards. That guard is good, but when you've got a team full of block Saurus, it just doesn't use rerolls. It just pans your face in. Yeah, it's boring and it's simple to play against, but it's effective. The Blodge, I don't like the Blodge Crocs unless his next skill is going to be break tackle, which for me it should be, because then he's dodging out on a 2-up with a reroll.
What would you have given it instead of the dodge on a double?
Pro.
Yeah, good shout.
You can basically reroll everything with the dice roll you'd have to have made anyway.
It does, however, make it very difficult to get down.
Yeah, it is good for survival. Yeah, that's the.
In a league like this as well, where there's going to be God coming out of people's arseholes.
Yeah.
And people will be getting blocks on that Crocs.
Yeah. The 3 guard is good. It's not a bad skill choice. It's not like pass block or something ridiculous. So it's not like I'm bashing it. And the tackle has its uses, but I just prefer the block. But he's seemingly done all right. So
yeah.
Agiforce Skink is amazing. It's the one to kill. You think that by the looks of it, he's had lots of MVP stuff land on Skinks, which is why he doesn't have many skills from the Saurus.
Still, after just a single season, he's got a skill on every Saurus, which is
that's not bad.
Yeah, it's basically what you are trying to do, isn't it? Yeah. With any lizard team, by the end of season 1, get some development on all your Sauruses. But I agree, yeah, I would have given all of them block.
Yeah.
But hey, it might come in handy. I mean, there's no questioning that having 3 guard will come in handy, right?
Yeah.
It's fruity, not wrong.
Yeah.
Let's take a look at the tank-topped Bum Boys.
Scum only rolls 10.
Yeah, now this is an incredible amount of development for one season.
Yeah. For the team he's got as well. I mean, he's got 6 strength 4, 1 strength 5. All his strength 4 have block. He's nearly got claw on Johnson. And it's just annoying to play against because he doesn't have to do anything. Yeah. He just has to stand there, and if you get a bad dice roll at the wrong time, you don't push him out the way, he beats you to death. If you get really unlucky and you get 2 or 3 foul appearances, he beats you to death. This is the team, if he plays the Chaos Dwarves late season, this is the team that I'd say would beat them, because he just gets a couple of claw, and that 1 foul appearance, reroll foul appearance, then he beats you to death backwards. You can't mitigate it. And he's played the team a lot. He does play it well, as much as I dislike, approving of his life choices and giving him credit. It's a good team. He's got a Blodge movement 7, strength 4 guy in there that blitzes at strength 5. He's going to be hard to stop. He's one of my contenders, but he
Yeah. I
suffers from the
think the
same thing
rest
at
of the
all.
division will probably be hoping that this team and the Chaos Dwarves just have a match
Kill each other.
somewhere in the season where this team's had enough time to get a bit of claw, and they just take massive chunks out of each other.
Yeah.
That's what will be required to make this a really interesting Division 1, I think.
Yeah. I found most of the time when you get two mega killies, one murders the other one early. They can't recover. And because he's Nurgle and he's high value, he's a worse roster with basically the same team value.
That's true, yeah. And well, I mean, he needs to spend some cash because he's got 190k in the bank.
Yeah,
So
I'd probably just buy a rotter and just
just get a
foul
rotter.
people
He
to
also
death.
needs to rearrange
Or
the
another
order of these
Pestigal.
players because it's a very confusing order to look at.
I don't like it. He's doing that on purpose, you can tell.
Yeah,
Typical
that
Corey.
movement up Pestigor with Blodge is lovely as well. Really, really nice piece, that. Yeah, well.
He's good. You'll do well. I expect him to be up there. This next one,
likewise.
however, I think is going to have a painy season.
Well, I mean, he's taken... I know what it's like when you take a low-tier team for their second season. I've done it. I did it last season. He's not done it because he thinks he's going to do well. He's done it because he thinks it'll be fun. And also because he can't conceivably refuse to continue playing a vampire team where he's got one vamp with a strength and an agi up and another vamp with 2 movement ups.
Yeah.
Like, you'd be mad to give that up, even if you know you're going to get battered.
Because you can take... what could you get with that? You could take Luther nearly every game.
Yep.
You could buy another vamp and level it. And he's done all right to keep all his MVPs and
Well, you'd be
everything
taking
on the
Cheney
vamp.
every game, surely, right? At this point?
You can take Cheney and Luther.
Yeah.
And just... I wouldn't bother trying to strip people of rerolls. Because for the most part, they've either got more than they need or don't really need them.
Yeah, definitely.
But your high-speed claw on Cheney is... We've seen how good he is. And a non-bloodlusting movement 5 or strength 5 vampire linked with the other good vampires is really good.
Yeah. Get Cheney, get Luther, get some bribes.
Get busy with it.
Yeah. Use Cheney to take out expensive pieces. Foul every turn.
Yeah. And you can break cages just by hypnogazing the guards off and bumming the good guy.
Yeah.
This is the one team that, if he gets going, could kill the Chaos Dwarves, because you just hypnogaze the guards away and just kill the claw.
Yeah.
It's more likely that it's going to get murdered, but it's got potential to open things up.
It's good. It's not going to be boring, that's for sure.
No, yeah. He's either going to have really good games or really, really bad.
If it was like an 8-team Division 1 or a six, like if it was a 5 to 8 game season, it wouldn't be so bad. But I think over the course of 11 games, you are inevitably going to have one terrible one with this team, right?
Yeah. The niggled movement 8 is going to be because that's a good piece. It's expensive. It might be a problem, especially without core skills. The next skill I'd be giving it would be dodge.
Yeah.
Just so it's less likely to fall over on the runaway. You've got 4 rerolls is nice. I'd even consider a 4th vamp, just to give you more high strength on the board, just to try.
Well, that's dependent on whether or not he can afford one, right?
Yeah,
20k in the bank.
Yeah,
It'll be interesting to see how he does. I'm looking forward to it. Let's have a look at the Necros. Dave's Necro team was up there in the mix to win the Tenderfoot last season.
And this is a team that took 3 werewolf deaths.
And he came back. What a trooper. She's got a big ass roster. That's a good thing.
Yeah. I think his idea would be knock stuff over and foul liberally. The downside to these massive rosters is he's not as likely to get MVPs on the good things, which is why they're going to develop slowly.
Yeah, but, I mean, it looks to me like 4 of those zombies are from stealing them from other teams, yeah. Because there's no way Sammy Davis Jr., Barry... I'm pretty sure Barry the Human and Bash...
and Working Class Tory.
Yeah. Working Class Tory is from Tank Top Bum Boys.
Yeah,
Bash, I think, is from one of the...
Salmon Winds. It was Salmon Winds,
right?
Black Orc.
Yeah. Oh, Black Orc, yeah, it's normal Goblin team. Yeah, so that's that in it, I suppose. But at least he's got loads of chaff, which you would expect to get killed in this league.
Yeah. It's going to be good just to give him. He's less unlikely to ever start the drive with less than 11 players, and they're cheap.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd be tempted to sack off one of them so you can hire Cheney. Because you can't hire with 16 on his roster.
That's true, yeah. I mean, this team could go somewhere if he gets some early development on those werewolves. If he gets some quick development on the werewolves, if you can get maybe Mighty Blow on the one that's already got block, get block on the other one.
Yes.
I mean, obviously, alternatively, you give him catch, right?
I'd give him dodge. They get agi access naturally, so I'd make them blodgers just because they get targeted, so they're harder to hurt. And they can just run away better. If you're in somewhere you don't like, just 3 up with a reroll to get out.
Yeah,
Sidestep also works for the anti-frenzy bullshit. So if you try to get yourself in a bad position, you can use Sidestep to get out of it.
I don't know how I feel about Necros. I have had a really good season with them in another league, but they're so frustrating.
Yeah.
Like, the werewolves get targeted immediately. The flesh golems take forever to level up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they're a tough team to play as because they've got very good specialized players, but as soon as they lose anything, they start to struggle. And him losing so many good pieces has stunted him massively.
Yeah, well, I guess we'll see how he does. But if he can survive the season and get some development, it'll be looking good for the following one, I think. Let's take a look at Paulie's Angels. Human team, 11-man roster.
Problems.
Yeah, well, he can afford to get another. I mean, you would probably get your second catcher, right? That's what he's saving up for, I guess.
They're only 70k, but they're armor 7.
Bit of an odd choice putting sure hands on his catcher.
If he runs over and knocks things over, it's good, fast, able to pick up the ball.
I suppose it protects against strip ball as well, doesn't it? I guess.
Yeah. So he's got.
I don't know, but the thing is, if he's given him sure feet, you would have thought he would have got sprint next, right?
Yeah, but I suppose he's not far off leveling up to get it, and he's really hard to get the ball off now.
Yeah, true enough.
He's got a decent roster.
Yeah, strength up, mighty blow, tackle blitzer is obviously huge.
You could go depending on what the word roster is, his schedule. You'd either get a lineman, then try to get another one. So you need 13 odd players in this division. You can't be running 12-man teams because there's so much firepower that they'll just beat you to. Even his good players don't have much in the way of defense. Like, there's not got Blodge. He's going to go up against Claw that he can't do anything about. He needs to have the numbers so he doesn't spiral, because humans aren't great when they start hemorrhaging players. They're not good enough at anything to do it well enough to win. Their versatility's good most of the time, but in a bash heavy league I found they tend to either do really well because they just outrun everything, or they just die.
Yeah, I mean,
players who can stay dead.
The success of this team is going to depend heavily
on the schedule.
Yeah, and as you've said, like, on how brutal the first few games are. Like, if in game 1 he loses 2 or 3 of these players, it's over, innit, really? Yeah.
If the only people he can really lose would be the linemen, which is what you'd be hoping old Kajar. Any of the other ones, just because, especially with the Ogre being on 13, he's close to leveling up again, and even an Ogre with, I don't know, either stand firm or break tackle, or if he gets block, fantastic. He's not far off leveling it up, and it just adds to the roster where he can't afford to really lose a blitzer, just because he's not going to have, in the early season, you lose a play. Even just getting missed next games can wreck you, because you can't compete with the next team, and unless those next teams are the really weak ones in the league, which not many of them will be, you start to spiral out of control, and you'll lose another couple, and because you're not winning the games, you're not getting the money to replace them. If you don't get good money rolls, you can't re-roll it because you're not winning anything. And this is a team that's won a lot to get here, and it's still only got 11 players. So we must have had some bad luck on deaths.
Yeah, Yeah, I mean, I don't know
I,
if I'd
I
have brought
fear
this
for
team
him.
back.
Not a bad roster, but what it's going into, it's going to struggle.
Thing is, though, for your second season with a human team, you want to have at least acquired another catcher, right?
He
But
might have, but at 11 players, it looks like he's had injuries because he
yeah,
got quite far in the playoffs. So I think he's probably done well and then had a couple of things go wrong.
yeah. Well, I guess we'll see, won't we?
Yeah, well,
One decent game, 50k. Well, not even 50k. What? How much is a
20k.
human catcher? Not like
Yeah,
100k, are they?
70.
So a human catcher's 70k.
Yeah.
Wow, I could have sworn there were more than that. All
No,
right, well,
they
yeah, I'd grab one right now then. So you've got one on the
in the new
bench.
edition they're even cheaper. They're 60 in tabletop
Yeah, but they've got
armor
AV7 in
rating.
tabletop, haven't they?
Yeah, this has
Yeah.
made them the old price, but with unofficial armor value. But we'll not get me started on that.
Anyway, let's move on because we've talked about these guys for a long time. But I would like to see them do well. They're definitely the plucky underdog, I think. Let's have a look at this Orc team. Green is the colour. So
Uh,
this is looking a bit rough with regards to the MNG there, but three Black Orcs with block is
yeah.
it's better than what some people have managed. He's got block on pretty much everything at this point. Strength up blitzer with Mighty Blow is huge. He's got his tackle piece when it comes back.
He's got the tackle mighty blow. He's got his shenanigan blitzer. He's got enough money to buy the fourth blitzer, so I'd expect him to get a fourth blitzer.
100%.
He's got linemen. He's not far off being a decent team. It's just it depends. Again, he's one of these other coaches that it'll depend on his order. If he goes up against the Chaw first, because he's missing that mighty blow, he has no guard. It'll be ugly. He just prays he survives.
Yeah.
But if he has a decent early start, there's no reason he can't recover. Get a bit. I wouldn't say he's a. I wouldn't be expecting him to win, like the entire thing. But these Orcs are a decent roster. They're fairly forgiven.
And he's got the one-turn
Mid-table.
potential as well.
Yeah, he's got Troll and
insignificant.
Goblin combo.
Yeah, having a
And
Goblin
it-
on the bench and bringing it on for the one-turn, it forces people to play differently.
Yeah.
So
He's
yeah,
got potential.
just want some SPP on that other Black Orc, right? Get block
Yeah,
on him,
one
start
catch.
getting guard on some of the other Black Orcs.
Yeah.
You laughing?
I don't like Mighty Blow on Black Hawks. I like them just to be block guard roadblocks.
Yeah, well, you shouldn't. I mean, you don't want to be. They're not there for blitzing, are they?
Yeah,
They're there as roadblocks.
that's clues in their name, Black Hawk blocker.
Yeah. Yeah. Not really much else to say about this team. It's developing the way you would expect an Orc team to develop. Let's take a look at the Bowmana Cellar Surfers.
I played
Undead.
this team. I think he's going to have a tough time because most of his star player points are in those ghouls
Yeah.
and keeping them alive. Because nearly every team has tackle mighty blow, and I don't think he's played against many people who had it in the numbers they've got it now.
Yeah.
So
True
his
enough.
guard mummies are good. He's one star player point off 11. They can't take block naturally. The white with the niggle was a big problem from even against me. My first thing I did was hit it, and I think I knocked it out. And just not having the extra guard there, and that block off the team is big.
Do you feel like going for Blodge on every single ghoul was the right decision?
No,
Yeah, nor
I'd
do
have
I.
took. I think at least one should have wrestle,
Yeah.
and then you turn it into wrestle tackle, and then you have another one. If you get a block, dodge, guard, he's good for pairing up with that one. So you run him forward, put the guard in there, run over 2 dice blitz, and just knock things over. And then you've got your other two block strip ball.
See, I'm a big fan of having your fourth ghoul be a passing ghoul as well.
It's not bad because it gives you've got a lot of Agi 3, and
the first
people say,
ghoul
"Oh,
that
you
rolls-
pass."
Yeah, I was going to say the first ghoul that rolls a double, give it accurate or something.
Or just pass just to give free rerolls.
Yeah,
'Cause
I
if
mean
you-
there is that, but I have always been of the opinion that I do not mind spending a reroll on a pass or a pickup if it means that I can have some other skill that augments them in some other way.
I'm used to assuming, because mummies do a lot of blocking and don't have block, I assume that once per half, so I'd count them as only having 2 rerolls, because I assume they'll do at least one, both down skull. Because he's going to be hitting, what's that, 16 times? And it's 1 in 9, so he should lose at least 1 per half.
Yep. So
Just
I
on
always
the
do
mummy.
mummy blocks last, so that I can choose to have the both down if I want.
Yep. It's a
But
lot
yeah,
of...
no, I think what we both agree on is that we need some of those ghouls need some diversity.
Yeah.
One
He's
of
got
them
no
should
time.
certainly be a tackling piece if it levels up for the next one.
His whites have suffered from ghoulitis. Ghouls have been doing all the scoring, hogging all the SPP. He hasn't got much SPP on the bottom end of his team, which is all right. You'd want to kick just to be annoying to play against. Probably give it to the zombie.
I don't know. You put your zombies on the line, don't you? So
yeah, but you can just get another one. His team
Yeah.
value's so low. You just buy another zombie and give Dirty Player to Lucky Luke
yeah,
because he's got the movement to get in there to foul. That's why he takes skellies.
yep, yeah, 100% agree with all of that. I think these guys are going to struggle.
Yeah,
I hope they prove me wrong, but I can't. I can't see them having a good time unless.
I don't think he's got the skill sets to take on the threats
No.
in this league. He doesn't have the tackle, doesn't have the guard. He's got a little bit, but not enough.
Every team that has a tackle piece, which is more or less every other team, is just going to blitz a ghoul with tackle every single turn.
Yeah. And when I played him, because he didn't have the other block pieces around, he was having to use them so they're in harm's way.
Yeah.
And having maintaining control in this league is going to be essential, and he's going to struggle just because his roster isn't as good.
Yeah. Prove us wrong, Kev. Prove us wrong.
Prove us wrong. I hope he does all right, because I like the lad. When I was playing him, he was lovely, but
yeah,
it's going to be a tough one.
The other non-bash team in this league, Dwynen's Elites, High Elves. So, I would say that this is probably the bravest team to agree to bring back, even more so than the Vamps, because High Elves are a team that can perform, particularly when they've got skill ups under their belt. But this is...
He's lost a blitzer, and he's 10k off buying a new one. By the looks of it, he's just bought a new one because it's got no star player points, which is really rare for an elf team. It looks like he's done well to get through as he did, but just got beaten on the way.
Yeah.
He doesn't have many. He's got that movement 6, agi 5. You've got to keep. You just pray you don't get hit.
Movement 8, agi 5. You mean?
Yeah. Armor 6.
Armor 6. Yeah. I mean, that's a problem, though, isn't it? Because
everyone's
just going to target that in this league.
And you don't have the players to hide him. And you don't have the money because you're going to have to save up. But I think he's going to struggle. He doesn't have enough of what makes elves to do what he does well. He'll probably score all right, but I can see him losing games 2-1, 3-2.
As he gets more and more depleted.
Yeah, he's going to start to struggle.
Well, he's got 2 level ups that he hasn't done.
Yeah. If they're both strength ups, it changes the complexion of this roster, but it's unlikely.
Yeah.
Yeah. So who do I think is going to do well? I think the Bulls should win it. The MNG and Tank Top Bum Boys will be up there.
Yeah.
Necro, I think, will be up there.
Do you reckon?
Yeah, because Dave's really good. I'd say in terms of play time, he's the most experienced person in the division. His roster's not great, but he came through and got to, was it semis?
Yeah.
And that's with 3 dead werewolves. The chances of him getting that again are not high. There's not that much that should kill him and then fail regen.
What about It's Impossibles?
I don't know. Because everything's got block now. He's going to start paying for not having it.
Yeah.
So he could do well, but I think he's going to be like in the 4th and 5th. He should qualify, but I don't think he's going to be the big boy.
The thing is, those Sauruses are none of them are that close to leveling. None of them are a cash away from leveling. They're not going to be getting touchdowns. So you have to assume that it's going to take him a good 5 or 6 games to get a sprinkling of levels on them.
Yeah.
And the ones with guard aren't going to be throwing the blocks.
That's the problem when you give stuff guard, it tends to assist more. So that's why you give it block first. And then you take 3 or 4. I also like having one Wrestlesaurus. Just so that you can then give it break tackle. So it can run away on a 2+ and hit things.
So, top 8, what do you think?
Top
Not
8,
necessarily in any order. Who do you think's going to be in it?
Bulls, Bumboys, MNG, Moonster, Mummy's Little Soldiers, Dwarf, Lizard, Human, because he did quite well.
You think the 11-man human roster is going to be up there?
If he gets a good early start, he'll be a 13-man human roster. And there's only like 3 or 4 of the teams that he really doesn't want to play early. He probably doesn't want to play Khemri, Chaos Dwarf, or Nurgle early. The other ones he can probably cope with.
You don't think the Orcs are going to be up in the mix then?
They'd be my 7th or 8th choice. Because he's got the block, but he doesn't have much else.
Yeah.
And I think Vamps will struggle. But...
Well, there's Division 1. It's going to be an interesting season. A long season. This will probably be the longest season we've ever had. So yeah, we'll see how those guys go. Let's take a look at some of these fresh boys then. Let's have a look at 2A.
2A. So
the Brett Welders, Bretonian.
Fan roster should be just kicked off already, but I like his starting roster. I like this as a starting roster. I've tried a couple, and the extra players and only having 2 blitzers, I think, is a good choice because he's an expensive key piece, expensive roster. He's got 3 rerolls and they're expensive as well. So I think he's set himself up for a good early push. His early game itself, like the first game or so, Brett's, so they're still all right. But he's not going to have to be spending a shitloads of money on getting extra reroll, so he can just pump that into blitzers.
Yeah.
And he's going to exponentially jump when he gets these new blitzers. He's got Fend is surprisingly good.
Yeah. You don't realise because you don't see it very often, do you? It's only really these guys that have it, and they're probably one of the least played teams.
Yeah. They're an odd roster in that their strength access is on wrestle pieces. But they're still decent. They're a decent roster. They're much like elves, where if they start well and they don't die early, because they're especially the 2 blitzers, you'll do all right. The linemen are not great, but they're cheap, and they can turn it. If he gets a 14, 15-man roster, he can foul people, and those blitzers are excellent. 4 Dauntless is irritating as hell. But he should do all right. And has he named them? It looks like he has.
He has, yeah. I think he's gone for a sort of Saxon Britain theme, which is a bit, kind of goes over most people's heads, I think. But
to be fair, when I looked at it, it was like, that doesn't look like the names the game gives you, but I didn't know what it was.
Of course, because the game gives you Frankish names, whereas these are Saxon names. It's a subtle. I think it's perhaps a subtle nod to the Norman invasion. Little middle finger to the French. That's what I'm going to assume it is. Let's take a look at the Chorfs Anti-Elf Brigade. A direct response to the fact that he didn't like playing against elves last season.
I don't think he realises just how specialised Chaos Dwarf are and how lucky that the other Chaos Dwarf, he's done well with his games, but he levelled in 2 seasons where he's the only good bash team.
Yeah.
So you're playing in a world of elf, which have all got low armor. You've got tackle. They're all elfing skills, where he's going up against a fairly block-heavy league. So there's more armor, so he's less likely to level up as blockers.
Absolutely, that's a very good point. Actually, it's a very good point. I hadn't thought about that, but probably a large portion of why the Chaos Dwarves have done so well is because they came up in the era of elf teams, where we just had an insane number of elf teams, didn't we?
Yeah. So that's why, because he's not took many. I think he lost a centaur, but when you just lose 1 piece, it's not that bad. Where going up against other block teams, we'll pick on your hobgoblins. He's went brave with his starting choice. He's picked the 6. He's went for the 2 reroll roster, but he's got a good early thing to try to. His MVPs early should land on what he wants them to. So he's unlucky if it lands on a hobgoblin.
Yeah.
It's just I don't know how much practice he's got with his positioning. Has to be precise.
Yeah.
Because it's not as simple as it is once it's all got guard and mighty low.
It looks a lot easier than it is when you're wrecking
Yeah.
people with this
Yeah.
team. But having over half your team be movement 4 is not something that you can just step
And having
into.
3 people who can efficiently dodge and carry the ball, you just hit the hobgoblins. You don't even mark the blockers up. You just walk away from them.
Yeah.
And then he's not hitting. He's not leveling, and the Apple's a good choice because I don't know if it was me talking to him a while ago, but when I took Chaos Dwarves, turn 1 of game 1, I took a serious injury. That was a sacking to a Chaos Dwarf, and then the end of my second turn, I quad skulled a centaur who then died, and it fucked me over. So I think my saying that you're so desperate to keep these alive that he's went for the probably buy another hobgoblin, so he's got 12 players, then buy a reroll. His armor's decent, so survivability should be okay. It's just I don't think he's going to be administering beatings as much as he thinks he will.
I can't believe he got away with some of these names as well. Elven Skullfuck.
You haven't
Titty
seen
Twist. Like that. What is? Yeah, you can't say. You literally. I tried to have a vampire team called We Literally Suck, and that's not allowed. But Elven Skullfuck is perfectly acceptable, apparently.
If we're talking about names, I'm not going to criticise them at all, because we'll see in the rest of this division that I shouldn't be allowed to name players.
All right. Well, let's take a look.
It's a strong name and theme. Strong theme, strong team.
That's what we like to see. Okay, let's take a look at the next team. Wow. Oh, this is your team.
It is.
How do you pronounce that then?
Wham-Do Project.
Okay. What is that?
It's the name of a band. Well, it's not even a band. It's a group from, I think it's the late 90s, early 2000s. I just put WAR in, and they wouldn't let us. And it came up on, I think it was a YouTube 90s playlist or something stupid.
Right.
And I was like, oh, that works. Just typed it in. And then forgot to change it. So it stays.
There's a band called the Wham-Do Project.
A real one called Wham-Do Project. And my team motto, The King of the Castle, is their famous song. It's like their one-hit wonder from early 90s or whatever it is.
But, I remember that song. Yeah, is that like
King
in my castle? Yeah, I know that one. Yeah, making examples of you. Oh wow, okay. Yeah. Wow, that's quite the blast from the past. Fucking hell.
It is. But yeah, okay. I got a little bit excited with naming. I'm sorry about this.
That's
Anyone
right,
with a stream, good luck.
We're definitely not going to be checking the "this is okay for kids to watch" button when I upload this. Yeah. So
it's a standard orc build. My roster is not fruity at all. Jacob von Orkdorf and Moskov Humperdinck are throwbacks to my when I was very good at orc days. I always used to name my players exactly the same for every tournament. Then it marked on their base, and because in the original fluff, Jacob von Altdorf was the best human thrower ever, and my brother always played humans. I renamed mine Jacob von Orkdorf and then made sure he was better than my brother's. And Moskov was my first really good star player, so I added him to everything. And then the rest of them I just got abusive.
Yeah, I can see. Well, not really much to say about this. As you say, it's your standard orc build.
It's just got abusive names, and
open your roll 40k for your first win-in, so you can get your apothecary, I assume.
Yep, that's the dream.
All right, well, moving on.
Yeah, you can't say much about that. It's boring, but it works.
So, Oathbound. This is the team of a new coach, Richard Lyman.
I reckon it's a decent roster. He's got 3 rerolls for not having to spend money later on. He's unlikely to take deaths early. As long as he doesn't take too much of a hammering, he's got his thrower in there. He's got 2 blitzers, so they're going to score early. That's probably he's going to focus on getting touchdowns on.
Yeah.
And then where you get good and they can. Yeah, then he invests in a catcher. And as the season, it's quite a long season. As long as his team doesn't die, he can probably buy an apple first just to try to mitigate that, and then do all right.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I've no idea what he's like in terms of playing Blood Bowl. I've never met the lad, so if he's new, I hope you do all right. If you're a veteran, be gentle.
Yeah, yeah. Wise words. I mean, you have to assume he's got some degree of experience under his belt
To
because
pick high elf.
yeah, he picked high elf, and also this is a sensible high elf build.
Yeah, yeah. He's level 1 in Blood Bowl 2 on the PC, but that doesn't mean he hasn't got 10,000 games on Fumble under his belt.
Yeah, true enough. Well, good luck to you.
Yep.
But unfortunately, you have not named your players.
Oh,
And as we
done.
all know, strong theme equals strong team. Although actually they're called Oathbound, so I suppose that's fair that they've got kind of traditional elfy names. We'll just assume that this is a serious in-law team.
Yeah. No one likes the in-laws.
Yeah. Feroz, Nurgle. I'm sure they will.
He's got a... Ooh, he's went with the beast early.
Yeah,
It can work.
yeah, that's what. Yeah, I like it. Do you know what? After 9 seasons of doing this at the beginning of every season, every time somebody does something unusual, I get excited. It used to be that I'd be like, "Oh, why have they done that? That's not a good idea." Nope, do all of the fruity things. So
This
yeah,
isn't
beast
that
first.
bad, though. He's got to... If he can play like Flegg and just, roll 10s on every dice roll, not that jealous, he doesn't need the rerolls. And if he can play the game he wants to, it's the same thing I was saying to Flegg before, of they've got no skills. You're reliant on the stuff you need working early. If you don't, and you fail 2 pickups in a row, you don't have the versatility or the pace or anything to deal with it.
Yeah.
And he's been lucky in that it's never happened to him except for one game when he got smashed. But even then, he didn't die. So
Yeah.
it's a decent roster. It'll be good against anyone who's trying to run away from him. Even just like against stuff like my Orcs, just having something holding blitzers in place,
Definitely.
just being annoying.
And
is
that's
what
really
Nurgle's
what
good
the
at.
beast is for, isn't it? Like it's not really there as a combative piece. It's there as a control piece, isn't it?
Yeah. So the first 2 skills, unless you roll a double, would be guard then stand firm.
Yeah.
Or even stand firm then guard. There's no really right or wrong for that. I like guard because I tend to put them in quite aggressive places, but I'm not going to argue with him depending on what his skill choices are. Again, he's a level 20 coach, so I expect him to have played the game quite a lot.
Yeah, fair point.
So,
see how he does. Good luck.
Yeah.
Let's take
Good
a
luck
look
to him,
at one of many lizard teams.
So he's
gone for the Crocs.
He's gone for the early Crocs 2 reroll. This is the same as I keep saying. That teams like this require you to do well at the start.
Yeah,
he can't afford a
reward,
death, and he's going to have to put his early money into an Apoth to keep this alive. But it's good, strong on the pitch.
Graham, you played in a lot of tournaments around the UK. How do the Scousers tend to play? Because his name is Scouse Boy, so I'm assuming he's the first.
I've not met a single Scouser in a tournament ever.
So what you're saying is he's some kind of pioneer from an exotic
probably
land.
The Scousers tend to get just Chester, and if they hit the edge of Manchester, and then they hit the Manchester Liverpudlian battle, and they never make it further. Whereas people from Manchester and the Water Bowl, they can escape the other way. They've got no one stopping them.
Right, fair enough. So yeah, we're gonna be seeing some kind of. It's gonna be like when a Spanish or Italian club comes over to play football in England. They do some crazy sort of finesse game that none of us can play because we only do 4-4-2 over here. That's what it's going to be like, I imagine.
He's also a level 20 coach.
Build. He is a level 20 coach. So
Which a lot of our regulars who are 9 seasons in are like level 10, to put it in perspective of how much they've played.
I don't think he's named his players though.
No, I don't think he has.
Yeah,
Conquer of Despair. No, I don't know. They don't look very named.
Yeah, I don't think so. I don't know. Missed a trick there. Actually, you could have fully leaned into the Scouse Boy thing and gone for like famous Liverpudlians. You could have named all your skinks after the Beatles. It would have been amazing.
Hubcap, stolen this, stolen that.
Anyway.
Sign on with your pen in your hand. Sorry.
I think we're leaning too into this now. I'm sure that he has many personality traits that have got nothing to do with being Scouse. So yeah, moving on. Sherwood Shorties, the 600 TV halfling build is I swear by this now on Blood Bowl 2.
I like this build as well.
Yeah, I wouldn't do it in tabletop Blood Bowl anymore because you have better star player options available to you. But in Blood Bowl 2, against other fresh teams, being able to have Deep
pot.
Root and a Master Chef can be utterly devastating in the first game. If your trees do work, if you win the toss and go first, there is every possibility that you will get 3 removals immediately.
I don't want to play this team first.
Yeah.
I want to play the team when I've got a tackle or 2 mixed in. Maybe it's a mighty blow. I don't want to play it first. I also don't want to play it last. Because halfling games, if I've got really high value, she'll come in with 2 stars, fouling me. She doesn't want to win the game anymore. Doesn't care about development. She'll just try to kill me.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I'd want to play this like 3rd or 4th, maybe.
Yeah.
She's relatively new to the game, but she also plays halflings and teams like this quite a lot. And she's been playing tabletop, as far as I'm aware, against Dave, because obviously they live together. Yep. So she's getting better at it.
This is her second season in a row with a fresh halfling team, so
this is literally take 2. Either. Yeah. So she's not going to she doesn't tilt and get all salty because she's not basically me.
She's not been playing long enough for that inevitability to take hold yet.
We'll teach you the way of the salt, don't worry.
But yeah, also we've got a Nottingham theme here, which I like. Being a Forest fan, good stuff.
Boo. Alan of Dale, boo. I don't know why I dislike Nottingham, but you know.
It's always nice to see stunties, and it makes the season that little bit more novel. So, looking forward to seeing how these guys perform. And I am backing this team to win this division. This is the team that I am supporting in my completely neutral stance as commissioner.
If I had to pick a second place team that I want to do well, it'll be them.
Yeah,
but just not against me.
Yeah. Well, anyway, let's have a look at the Skaven. So, Kill It and Grill It. This is the team of Daniel Bailey, another new coach to the league. What's going on here?
It's a good starting roster. He's organised it well. I mean, look at that. It's beautiful.
Like that. We like it. It's well organised, and also he's named his players.
Yep.
And I think is this named mostly after things that you can... I'm confused. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Why would you kill or grill Lego?
Because it kills you.
I suppose. Guybrush presumably is a reference to Monkey Island, whose main character is Guybrush Threepwood, which I don't know. Do you know what? Maybe I'm looking too much into this.
I don't know. It's got a name and theme as we
it passes the test.
It does.
But yeah, this is what I would say is the standard Skaven build, right?
Yeah, I wouldn't say standard because there's a couple of builds. It's a good if he survives early build because he's got lots of the positionals, but he's only got 11 players. So if he plays one of the bashier teams early and takes a beastin', but that's why he's got the apothecary. The chances of getting multiple dead on the players he doesn't want to die is quite low, so he should be okay because all he needs is 50k. Got another lineman, he's on 12. Yeah, 50k. Got another lineman, then he's got the chance to take it.
Well.
Yeah, so I think he'll do all right. He's level 20 again, so all these new people are all more experienced than pretty much everyone in terms of playing Blood Bowl 2.
Well, it doesn't take long to get to level 20 on Blood Bowl 2, but yeah, no doubt about it. He's played some Blood Bowl 2 and knows what he's doing. And also, the reason I said this is your standard Skaven build is this is the one that I see most dedicated Skaven coaches going with.
This is the one I pick as well.
Yeah, because the 4 gutter runners, the quicker you get them developed, the more ridiculous your team becomes, right? Yeah. You get moving up on one of them, you're laughing. Yeah.
Well, you get moving up on one of them, it gets sprint, then sure feet, then never steps on the pitch again unless to score you one turner.
Yeah. Well, anyway, good looking team. You would expect this to be a contender, I think. Let's take a look at Sports Injury. A Norse team from Lee McCall. This is another new coach. This must be the division of the new coaches.
Yeah, I think of the teams that are new, it's like 10 of... I think there's 10 or 12 of the people are new.
Yeah, there are quite a lot of new coaches this season. So, again, there are quite a few different ways that you can build a Norse team. I think is a pretty sensible build.
Yeah. I like Yetis.
Yeah, I like
Because
Yetis as well.
It's the claw makes your opponent think like this. If I play this, I'm confident that Orc versus this, I have outstrengthened him. He's armor 7. Eventually, my armor 9 versus his armor 7. Even with him having block, I expect to stun, get a cheeky knockout every now and again, and then eventually wrestle control of him. And this block with a claw in there, I'm scared of committing blitzers. It adds an element of that this doesn't have breaking armor, but it is unreliable. His team is really reliable. He's got a shed load of frenzy, so anywhere you go near the sidelines, he's putting you off the pitch.
So what would you do then, Graham? Drop a lineman, drop a reroll, get a Yeti?
I'd drop both berserkers.
Yeah.
I don't like berserkers early. I like Ulfs because they take a while to level. One runner gets the ball, gets blood, sure hands, just turns into your scorer. And then you can save up and buy again, because if you can control the game, Norse are excellent. Norse rely on aggressive controlling of the game. And if he can do that, he'll be golden. If his block and uphill blocks and all of that jazz work, he's on for a winner. You could argue that this is good because he's got 30k left in the bank. He can buy an Apo quickly to try to mitigate his losses, then get another lineman, then get the Yeti. So I'm not saying his build's wrong, but I'd say my build is riskier than this. But I don't know. I just don't like having 4 frenzy, 0 guard. You're going to be hitting a lot of players a lot, and unless you're really careful, you're going to get yourself into problems. And a level 1 coach, I don't know if he's played in other leagues or tabletop experience, but if he's really, really new, not frenzy trapping yourself when over a third of your team has frenzy can be tricky.
Yeah, that is a very good point. But he has picked a theme, sports injuries, and he's named all his players after sports injuries. So, and as we all know, strong theme equals strong team. So
he's now first.
Safely assume that he's going to be up in the mix.
Yep.
So, Liz on you, another Lizardman team. This is going to be a theme, guys, if you don't already know. This is Ben Mattingly's team, another new coach.
I've met him. We played in a doubles tournament at Boards and Swords together. He's a nice lad. I believe he lives in Ireland and is a bodybuilder, so if you mess with him, he will wreck you.
He's played in a doubles tournament with him at Boards and Swords, but he lives in Ireland.
Yeah, it's. Do you know how Liam is like connected to everyone?
Yeah.
He ran a big doubles tournament, so you and your opponent. He played dwarf in that, and I was wood elf. You could share your Apo and your rerolls.
Oh, interesting.
So he was. Well, we didn't arrange it. It's just I think his teammate either dropped out or got ill or something, and Liam rang because I was late to applying, and said, "We've got a spot. Do you want to just turn up?" And I just painted my wood elf, so I took them.
Oh, fair play.
We did really well, and he's a nice lad. I know he's played Blood Bowl a decent amount. He did really well, so I expect him to do quite good. Lizards are a good team.
Yep. Well, hopefully. He's gone again for the 2 reroll Crocs builds, which I'm surprised about. I'm surprised that that's the dominant one that we've seen so far.
I prefer having the more rerolls. It just makes it hard. Because if you take the Crocs early on, you've got the strength on the pitch, but you're so reliant on not getting things ruined.
You've got the strength on the pitch, but you've still got the strength on the pitch with 4 strength 4 Sauruses.
6 of them, yeah.
6, sorry, strength 4 Sauruses. And I mean, do you know what? I fucking hate Bonehead. I can't be arsed with it. It's a pain in the arse.
I don't like Bonehead. I also don't like having 4 skinks. In my first league game as Lizards, I lost 2 skinks to stat downs, and it just puts your team on such the back that you can't really afford to buy another one. So then you go into the game with 2 loners. It's tricky, but if he's experienced, if he does well, he should be all right.
Yeah,
I've got faith in him.
We could just have had a division full of Lizardman teams as it is. So I guess you'll be thinking, can I be the best Lizardman team in this league? We'll
And
find
if he
out.
is, he'll probably win it.
All right, Undead. This is Tom's team. He played Chaos last season, didn't feel like he got enough development, re-rolled into Undeads. This is the team that he's most comfortable with, he has told me.
Yeah.
So, and it is your standard Undead build with 2 ghouls and 3 re-rolls. You can get 3 ghouls and 3 re-rolls. That is a thing that you can do.
I prefer that just to try to get early MVPs on ghouls and stuff.
I also prefer that, but it is something that if you're going to do it, you need to be adept at protecting your ghouls. So this is something that I know a lot about because I have played a lot of Undead. And having 3 ghouls is having 3 players that are neon lights to your opposition. Because they're the main things that you're using to carry the ball with. They are armor 7, and any opposition coach worth their salt is going to target them, right?
Yeah, especially when they're both called Trump as well.
Yeah. So if you like having 3 ghouls and losing 2 in your first game is your season over.
Yeah. And
this is
Sean
the safe
had that
build.
happen to him, bless him.
Yeah, it sucks. So this is the safe build, and I approve. I don't think either of them is inherently better than the other. So,
and he's only one because you don't need to buy an apple. He's 40k. It's an average roll off getting another one.
If he wins the game, he is statistically likely to be able to afford his 3rd ghoul immediately. But yeah, Undead, and also we've got a theme here that assuming Donald Trump does not succeed in his attempts to remain the president of the United States of America, is going to massively date this team by the time March comes around and the season is over.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is a theme. I appreciate it. Moving on.
This, if he hasn't changed it, was the team I was most concerned about. Because it looked in the chat like he was new. Yeah, this is the thing I think's going to hurt him. His roster is good. However, he's got 1 reroll for a team with no skills.
Yeah.
I don't know if he knows. I tend to not take the 9-0.
I know for a fact that this guy plays in the Yorkshire Blood Bowl League. So this is not an inexperienced coach building a roster that looks fruity. This is an experienced coach choosing to play a fruity roster.
Right, then he should be fine then.
Yeah. So this is the Studfield Maulers. This is Neville Udall's team. Udall. Sorry, Neville. I don't know how to pronounce that. You'll have to let me know. But yeah, this is the Chaos team, and if he knows what he's doing,
they'll be good.
Yeah, you would. Yeah, there's a lot of squishy stuff in this division to be killed.
Yeah. That Minotaur is 1 MVP in a cash. It's got claw, and suddenly the complexion's changed. Yeah. You're terrified of it.
Yeah, and halfling trees are getting sunk to it. The Blackhawks are having an awful time. You've got
no one wants to play. You need it to fail its wild animal, and then or fall over and kill itself.
I am really not a fan of the Minotaur, to be honest with you.
I love them, but I don't start with them. I prefer reliability early on.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, when I say I'm not a fan of them, I mean I'm not a fan of starting with them.
Yeah.
They eat blitzers, and you just don't want that. You do not want that in an early Chaos roster. I don't, anyway.
I like to score with the Chaos Warriors as best you can, because they're Agi 3. That's their big strength. So if you can get block on them early, your Beastmen tend to catch up anyway. And then get the Mino, because I don't know if he's just going to save up 20k and get an apple just to keep it alive. But as we've seen with a lot of the teams in this game, you buy your apple and it goes dead, reroll dead, into strength down, into strength down. It doesn't respect maths.
Yeah.
But if he knows what he's doing and he's not new, then there's no reason he can't do well, because the roster itself is really good.
Yeah, absolutely. Unfortunately, I don't think he's named his team manually.
I don't think he has.
Yeah, although I like that one of them is randomly be called Lazy Hyde. Yeah. That sounds almost kind of like a kids' TV show or something. Yeah. I could totally see that being a thing. Probably on some crap channel like that Welsh channel S4C. Anyway, who do you think's going to be in the mix of so? of the Division 2 teams, there'll be 8 from each division going through to the Tenderfoot Trophy.
Right.
What are we thinking? You probably expect the Chorfs to be in there, right? Because the Chorfs, your
I don't
Orcs,
know,
probably.
Chorfs in this division are not as overpowered as they were in the Elf League, because he's going up against lizards that just he marks up and then runs away with the skinks. And he's got a strength 5, so he's basically 1 centaur versus 4 skinks.
How many lizards has this one got? This is the one with 2 lizard teams.
Yeah, so I think there's 2 in this one. I'd put me up there because I like Orc. I'm going to put Ben up there because I've seen him play.
Yeah.
There's no reason Chorfs can't be up there. I'll be nice to new ones. We'll put Skaven up there. We'll probably put the other lizards up there because lizards are pretty good.
I mean, you would expect an undead team to do pretty well in this division, right? They're good out of the
Undead and
box. They don't stop being good.
Yeah, Undead and Bretts could be a good shout.
Yeah,
the
Chaos, if he has a good start, could be.
For me, that would leave Chaos, Nurgle because they're slow starters, depending on how you get.
What do you think about? Well, Flings are obviously. We'll assume that they'll come bottom, but we hope they don't. What do you think about the High Elf there? What do you think about their chances?
They've got something, because this is probably going to grow into a fight league because there's so much hard hitting stuff in it. I see him being all right if he can get the dodge. I see him being a kind of team where his thrower will be good. He'll probably have 2 catches by the end of it that are good. Both blitzers will be good, and maybe 3 good linemen as the other ones are put on the line and die.
Yeah.
So I reckon he'll do all right, and we'll probably stop him scoring. No, we won't be able to stop him scoring, rather, because them and the Skaven could do all right, and the Skaven. I'm putting Skaven in the top 8 because if they get 1 double and get Claw, even on a line rat, that's still scary to the world of Armor 9.
Yeah, especially this early on. I think Skaven, more than any other team here, are going to be like the wild card for me. Because it's such like you said, it's a fight-heavy league. It's really like if they get a bad start, that's their season over, really, isn't it? If they get a good start, they could run away with it.
Yeah, because they're hard to stop scoring. Claw on a blitzer early is ridiculously powerful. In this setup, I don't like using the word meta, but this has a dedicated. There's an armor 8, 7, and 8. There's lots of armor 8 and lots of armor 9, so a Claw here is really good.
Yeah.
That's why I'm so scared of that Mino. If I play him last and he's got Mino Claw with Juggernaut, that's going to be terrifying. But we'll see.
We will see.
I think it'll be it'll be a tough season. I can't see many teams coming out of it with like 1,700 rating.
That is a league that I do not envy being in at all. There is some. I think there's a lot of experience in that league, and there's a lot of new coaches as well. Like, it can be kind of easy when you're playing against people that you already know. You sort of know what they're going to do. You know how to play them. This is a league full of new guys, and it's going to be interesting to see how they.
You know how to make your opponents tilt when you've played against them.
Exactly. Yeah.
Season.
So Fritsch is in trouble really because he's already famous for tilting. So everyone's going to exploit that. Let's take a look at 2B.
Or not 2B.
Or not 2B. So, look, I'm up first. Brutal Deluxe BBFC. For anyone who owned a Mega Drive or an Amiga back in the day will probably recognise that name. Yep. And the players are all named after the players that you start with. And a couple of them are named after players that you can buy in the game Speedball 2 Brutal Deluxe, which is really showing my age right there.
Oh, I wanted the motto to be ice cream. That was my favourite thing.
Ice cream, yeah, no. Thing is, I had it on Mega Drive, so there was never an ice cream thing on that. But every time you kicked off, it went "Get ready." So I've made the motto "Get ready." But yeah, it's a standard human roster. There's nothing else to say about that, really, is there?
It's pretty decent.
It's the only sensible way to build them, really. I've often wondered. I've toyed with the idea of playing humans without the ogre, but
it's all right. You get more line chaff, but I feel they lack something without the either the threat of the strength 5 or just its presence on a part of a pitch. I'd rather have an ogre than a random bitch lineman on the pitch and another one on the bench.
I just feel like few big guys have shafted me more than the human ogre.
Oh yeah, 'cause they need it more than a lot of other teams. Like Chaos, because their Minotaur tends to get quite good, they feel it if it starts misbehaving. This ogre tends to feel it. Orc Trolls not so bad, depending on situation. So yeah, they're good, but you'll notice
so
it
unreliable.
If it has, yeah.
So unreliable. But the good thing about humans is, as they develop, I feel like you need them less.
Yeah,
If you get like a really good thrower or something like that, all of a sudden your game becomes about quarterbacking, and you can completely, like, the ogre's just there to scare people at that point. Anyway, we're talking way too much about these humans. There's nothing to say about them.
Yeah.
Let's have a look at these ogres. Now, lots to say about this team. The Snotling Royals, 14 Noblars. Beautiful.
If you hadn't have seen him beat people with this before, you'd question his sanity. He gives away so many SPP. So I'd expect every team coming out of this division to come out stronger than anyone coming out of the other one. His team value, with nobody above strength 1, is nearly 100k higher than the halflings.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, he plays this team, he plays this roster so much.
Yeah, he's actually genuinely good with it.
Yeah, he is.
I remember we mocked the choice a couple of seasons ago, and I think he won his first 2 or 3 games.
Yep.
He can play it. He knows what he's doing. He's got the rerolls, and he's got the insanity to not care.
Yeah, absolutely. And he's got a great naming convention.
Yeah.
They're Royals, and we've got Earl Ziggy of Stardust. Brilliant.
I like Sir Chaddington of Chad.
Yep. Sir Lady Charlotte of the Bog. The Bog. Brilliant. Yeah, this is an immensely frustrating team to play against as well.
Yeah.
Like, all of that dodge sidestep early on when you've not got any tackle, and it's just so frustrating to play against. You end up just constantly shoving him closer to his, like, to the fruition of his plans most of the time.
Yeah. It's depending on who you've got. Your humans will probably like it. Undead, they'll be alright. Norse will love him. Lizards will not like him that much.
No,
Orcs will probably like him.
The Chorfs, oh no, they're not in this division, are they?
The normal Chaos will hate playing that first.
The Dwarfs will have a great time against this team.
The Dwarfs would annihilate it.
Yeah. If his first game is against Dwarfs, then everyone's going to feel the burn of that.
Yeah, I'd expect him to get 2 or 3 guard out of that game.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let's take a look at the Undead. The Glory Hammer, Max's team, back to basics with the Undead. This is, once again, a 2-ghoul build.
Yeah, he's went for the safety build.
Yeah,
I don't know. I thought Max's strongest team I've ever seen him play as Chaos. They've got versatility. Everyone can do stuff. You got a decent roster with them. I find Undead, they're a better roster than Chaos, especially starting out. But you need to be able to use them right. I'm not very good at Undead and Necro. I don't know why I can't use them well, but I can't. I'm just not good at them. And I hope that he is better. I know he's been playing them on tabletop a bit, so hopefully he's getting better with them that way. And has he renamed his? Yeah, I think he
has renamed them.
Yeah, Unicorn Invasion of Dundee is one of their songs. So yeah.
Yeah, it's a band themed roster. Yeah, I like Undead. I love playing Undead. I've had a lot of success with them. They're my most successful tournament team. Although that's not saying much because
they're my least successful.
They're just the team that I played the one time I didn't take halflings to a tournament. So there's not really much to compare it to there really. But yeah, Max has never really had what I would say a good season in this league.
No, he's always been shafted.
Yeah,
he got an okay Norse team, and then like his best 3 players died in the same game.
Yeah,
and then he brought them back, and they died again. 9
consecutive seasons without, and he's a good coach. So I don't know. Maybe this will be his season. I hope this is your season, Max. Let's move on. Santa's Vandals. So we've got a Norse team here. This is Nico Leonberg.
He's gone for the double runner 12 12-person player with 3 rerolls.
2 rerolls.
2 rerolls, yeah.
Yeah,
only the 2.
12 roster with 2 rerolls. I'd say this is a pretty sensible Norse roster.
Yeah.
You've got a bit of chaff there.
You've got a bit of chaff. You've got the 12th player. He's not went with the Yeti, probably for the reliability factor. He doesn't want to lose control because he can't blitz because of his Yeti being a dickhead. And
I was going to say, has this team been renamed? I think it has.
Yeah, I think it has.
Yeah,
These don't
I don't think the French programmers of this game had a bunch of Nordic-sounding names, even though they are Norse.
Yeah, I don't know if they've had the is it numlight, whatever it's called, the 2 little dots above it.
Yeah,
I've never seen that. I think he has renamed them.
I wonder what the theme is here. Santa's Vandals. Paris Jumper. You're going to have to tell us about this, Nico. You're going to have to explain this to us.
It looks like it's, what's it called, Finnish.
Yeah. Yeah, that would make sense.
The names look Finnish, based on my Finnish friends from Blizzard. Their names and the people on their friends list look this.
I thought you were going to say Finland then. Finnish friends from Finland, not Blizzard.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know the lad. Hopefully he does well. It's a decent roster.
Yeah, absolutely. I like this roster. I actually don't like to go with a Yeti early on, but that's because I suck at Blood Bowl, so I need a lot of chaff. So this is the roster that I would play.
It is good for early survival, and then you just buy it later. He's also got 2 runners for the speed that they
severely
and it's good for going against, if you're going against bash people. Block Dauntless is like against the lizards. It'll be surprisingly good for the runners beating people up.
Yeah, definitely. Lovely. Well, moving on, let's take a look at Lizard Man team number 4, and one of 3 in this league. The Skinksburg 1-in-9ers. David Oakley, another coach who's been with us for all 9 seasons now.
This is his new team. He's normally Skaven worse than people that we're not allowed to mention on stream.
Yeah.
And
you don't want to say that, but you've said all the other things that you said.
Well, there's limits.
Yeah, there is limits. So this is another 2 reroll Croxagore team.
Yeah.
All of these Lizardman coaches are thinking, yeah, I'm the one. I'm going to be the guy that makes that work.
Yeah. With this many, one of them or 2 of them should work.
Yeah, and it's going to be horrible next season. Well, I mean, we've basically been over this multiple times now, haven't we? There's nothing that really we can add to this. He's got a guy called Kerry Trews, which I really like. I'm not quite sure what the theme is here. I think the theme
American
is
footballers.
Yeah, but he's changed the letters of the first
Brian
surnames.
Piccolo. It's like
Peyton Manning. Yeah.
Joe Montana, Randy Moss,
fantastic.
Dan Marino.
Let's move on because we've got another Lizardman team to look at.
This is the one we're now going to have to call Fruity.
So this is Sophie's team, second season with us, second Lizardman team. Last season was a rough season for her.
I wouldn't say it's rough. She doesn't play the game from what I've seen in the vein of.
Let me reword it. It was a rough season for her players.
Yeah, she enjoys just trying. Like, I've never seen someone foul so much first action with a Croxagore.
Yeah.
But it worked. She murderized teams. She put the pain down, and she enjoyed it. And she likes giving me abuse. So
I'm not sure about the
roster choice.
Yeah, so this is very fruity actually, because 2 rerolls but only 5 Sauruses.
Yeah, so she's out of drop. If you're gonna go 2 rerolls, you take the strength.
Yeah,
especially with her wanting to beat you to death.
I would drop a skink and take an extra Saurus here, without a doubt.
Yeah, if you're going 3 rerolls, you just don't take the Crocs.
Yeah, that's it.
For her style, I'd have went with the other build that everyone else has, but you never know. She might have turned over a new leaf and tried to pick up a ball.
I mean, at the end of the day, the hardest thing about the Lizardman team is getting level ups on all of those Sauruses, right?
Yeah.
So you ideally want to mitigate that. But having said that, in this division, having 5 strength 4 and a strength 5 is still a significant boon. if you can make those skinks work for you, I guess why not, right? But skinks are so expensive. I think
They're expensive.
They are really good pieces, yeah, but they're so expensive.
For their fragility, they're expensive. Yeah. But they're
anyway,
the Lizardman are a really good team. But from her style of play, of just not caring and trying to kill you, I don't think she's going to win the season, but she'll have fun doing it, and she's got plenty of opportunity to do what she likes, which is murder other people's players.
Yeah. Well, good luck with that, and let's take a look at these orcs. Massive purple weapons, brilliant name, love it. This is Adam Robinson's team, another new coach, and yeah, they're all right. This is fruity. Yeah, he's gone for the troll starting build. Colin Graham, Mr. Orc Coach, what do you reckon?
I don't like it. Based on early on, you have to use your Black Orcs, and they are 1 in 9 dumpers. If he can survive long enough, you also don't have much to put on the line. So he's probably going to be putting strength 4 on the line. And in a league with a washer strength 4, unless he goes hyper aggressive and prays the other team fails, he tends to get knocked around a bit. And as we noticed with the Orcs last season, when you're putting even strength 4 armor 9, you put it on the line enough, the bad luck happens. And it only takes 1 or 2 getting chipped. Lose a strength here, miss next game, and then the next game you struggle. It's still Orcs, it's still a decent roster. He's still going to be able to score. He's got all the good pieces. And the strength of this is he's got 1 turn potential in game 1. He doesn't have line shaft that's going to eat his MVP, except for the Goblin. And even the Goblin, if it gets Agi 4, he's on to a winner. So it's not a terrible roster. He's got 20k in the bank to get an apple. So it's not bad. I wouldn't say oh man, you've done this wrong. But I prefer the other build because I like having 3 rerolls and I like having the ability to be a bit more reliable. But you never know.
Risk reward at the end of the day, innit? Like we've said several times already, if this works for him, he's gonna start pulling ahead. If it goes poorly for him, he's gonna start spiraling, right?
Yeah, it's the spiral central because of the lack of rerolls for those Black Orcs.
All about surviving that first game and getting that Apo, really, with a team like this, isn't it?
Yeah.
Anyway, let's have a look at another Lizardman team, because we're not bored of these yet. This one's Kenny's team for this season.
We've got
valued customer 1 through 5. So, again, this is a very... We don't have a single what I would call sensible Lizard team build at all.
No. If I was going sensible, you'd drop the procs into another Saurus and have 3 rerolls.
Yeah, well, I would.
That's the less risky.
See, the thing is, I know Kenny actually wants to win. He's concerned with winning, so yeah, I would recommend at the very least ditching a skink and getting another Saurus, but probably ditching the Crocs and getting another Saurus.
Yeah.
And another reroll.
Well, it's too late now because by the time we release this, the rosters are locked.
No, it's not. There is going to be. I don't. Yeah, the rosters aren't locked because the league hasn't started yet. The moment the league starts, the rosters will be locked. So there is still time for people to change teams up, and who knows? Maybe some people will, based on what we've said. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. Again, this is just another case of. I think the problem with this build is the skinks so weak, and they're just going to get bullied.
The other thing that I found when I had, because the league I was playing in, you get more money. So I had more skinks, and the skinks just ate my MVPs, and you need them. That's why you have this. That's why people will take the 7 strength 5 because they're reliant on cash. If you can early on get your MVPs to statistically land on a Saurus, it exponentially increases the speed at which you level. You then get block. You've not only does your reliability go up, so the lack of rerolls doesn't hurt you as much, but you're better on the pitch. Everything improves. Where this, he's going to have to buy an Apo, then save up 80k. And if he doesn't win, and this is going to be a tough league to win in, even if he was playing against the Snotlings, I wouldn't say free win. Because he's not got anything except that tail to even make the Snotlings think about changing their game plan. It's a he's gonna.
I guess we'll see, won't we? We will see. Who knows? Maybe we'll see different teams after this goes out, but I guess we'll see. Friendly local team.
This is the roster that I like Chaos in.
Yeah, this is what you would call the standard starting roster for Chaos, isn't it? And this is David Hooper's team. He's been with us a few seasons now.
Yep, this is how I build it, and I like it.
Yeah, yes, I like the all caps making a point there. Cassandra, Timothy, and then we've got Allgrode the Slaughterer, which you just know that the epically named one is going to be the guy that like gets a cash in. Yeah, gets like a strength down or something. But yeah, there's not really much to say about this, is there? It's your default Chaos roster. You're hoping that you can get some levels on your warriors. You'll get an Apo as early as possible. Yeah. Then you'll save up for the Minotaur, probably.
Yeah, that's how I'd run it. And then save up to get 13 players, have a ridiculously high team value, and pray you've got Claw by then.
Yeah, embrace the bloat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't see a way of playing Chaos where you don't. Your players are expensive. You need all the core skills in the world. You try to keep it under control until you've got a couple of Block Claw, Mighty Blow, and then you just embrace it. Go to 2,200 and bomb people to death.
Dwarfs. Snow White and some dwarfs. So this is... so he has actually changed this up, yeah. This was the dwarf roster that I was talking about, where he'd gone with two rerolls and an Apo.
Yeah.
Or something along those lines. And I actually said like I would recommend going 3 rerolls because you guys aren't going to die. Well, they're unlikely to die. Yeah. But yeah,
the thing that I like to do with my dwarf is which is different. It's not wrong, but I like taking 1 runner, 2 blitzers, and an extra long beard because they take longer to level.
I also do that with my dwarves. Yeah, that's something that I pretty much religiously do with my dwarves.
Gives you 10k in the bank to save up to get the Apo quicker. I think you should be alright. It takes really bad luck to get a bad enough dwarf start to make you suffer, because even their what they call journeymen are still good.
Yeah,
they've got the best, for my money, the best journeyman in the game.
Yeah, I would agree with all of that. But there's no wrong with this build either.
Yeah,
I think
I've played dwarf before.
Yeah, the thing that the only downside to having 2 runners is that while one's busy carrying the ball, the other one's getting targeted because it's the only thing that your opponent can like reliably hit and possibly break armor on. Yeah, but even then, they're armor 8, 6 movement, and they can dodge.
You hide it at the back corner of your cage, or entice people into running away from blocking you with it.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, no wrong with that team at all. Pretty standard stuff.
Hold on.
Hang on a minute. We are missing a team. Yeah, who are we missing? Weird. Has someone dropped? Oh, we're gonna have to look into that.
Oh, Steward's inquiry.
Yeah, that's weird. Who are we missing? I'll look into that after this. But so I guess we'll just take a look at our last team now. Twilight Twinklers.
This is Sean, isn't it?
This is Sean's Vampires, and this is a really fruity vampire build. He's gone for 2 vamps and 4 rerolls with a load of thralls. Yeah. That's really unusual. I bet Jack's got something to say about that.
I don't think I've got enough about it. You'd want to play this team first because it's got nothing. And you're just going to beat his thrall up. It's a team that basically has an out. You need 3 to 4 vamps to make the vampness work.
Yeah, because when you've got that third vampire, so if you've got 2 of something, you can blitz one and mob the other one relatively easily, right?
Yeah.
And if you remove 1 vampire, it might as well not have any vampires at that point for all the usefulness is going to get out of it.
And it's like stuff like Hypnogaze. You want to be able to have a vamp with the ball to score, and then a couple to run into position, Hypnogaze, run another one around, Hypnogaze someone else, put your screens up. You don't have what makes them good. Even for like going to the front of a cage, Hypnogaze both corners of the cage, and then run through and blitz of the 2 dice. It's little things that would make vamps good. You can still hit on corners, and you can still do stuff like that with just 1. But you've got 1 3 up now, and then you're going to be going in on 1 dice because you're using a thrall.
Yeah,
I like having 3 vamps. I've only played vampires for like 1 season and 2 tournaments, but I like having at least 3 of them. And because
Absolutely.
it's all right if you've only got 2, but everyone else is 500 value ahead of you, so you get Cheney and all sorts of rubbish. But now he's got no value on anyone, and he's just got a worse roster. But it is deep. He can, if he gets lucky and fouls you off the pitch, there's a lot of 11-man rosters here. But going up against these, I think the Lizards would love him because he has no block. They're armor 9. Even if they fall over, he's quite happy to take a stun Saurus to injure a Thrall.
I mean, everyone's going to love playing against this team, right?
Yeah.
You're not afraid of it at all. There's nothing to fear in this team at all.
Yeah,
if he breaks your cage, great. What now? Who are you going to pass to?
Yeah.
Who's going to take the ball? Like, there's really, needs to drop a reroll, drop a Thrall, and get a third vampire. Otherwise, he's going to have a very, very, very difficult season.
Yeah. Has he bought an app? Do they get apples? Has he bought an apple?
He has bought an Apo, yeah.
I wouldn't bother. So we'll take that off. Yeah, the choice
he could keep the Apo because he needs to find 110k. So drop a reroll, drop a Thrall, get the vamp, keep the Apo because on a vampire team you can just target the vampires, can't you? Really?
Yeah.
It's not like Khemri or Undead where you should totally ignore the big guys. On a vampire team, take out vampires, you cripple the team.
Push them away from Thralls, or just kill the Thralls if he doesn't have many, or in this case, just kill the Vamps and leave the Thralls to be shit.
Well, the final team that we've not got here, I believe, is a Skaven team. So let's see if we can find them. They're called Live, Cheese, or Die. Let's see what that comes up with. This is a highly irregular end to a Smash of the Day. Perhaps it's my fault. Maybe I didn't invite them. There they are. I've dropped them an invite.
See them. How do I find them?
You can't see them. But I'll tell you what we're dealing with here when the server finally loads up. And it is a 4 Gutter Runner, 2 Storm Vermin build.
Got a thrower in there?
There is no thrower. It's 4 Gutter Runners, 2 Storm Vermin, and 5 linemen. 4 rerolls. So it's it's a somewhat fruity build. He's named all of his players after different types of cheese, which I approve of on many, many levels.
The thing I would say for this is Skaven, because they've got the dodge built in. 4 rerolls is useful, but not now. I'd have said he'd be better suited getting the Apo, because he's going to have to keep one one Gutter Runner back to be the ball picker upper, because he doesn't have a thrower. So he's going to be less threats up front. So he's probably going to be fighting a little bit more. It is good to have the 4 rerolls for when you're in defence and you want to step off, and because 1 in 3 of your linemen are going to fall over, and it is nice to be able to be a bit riskier in your play because all right, in first action I can try that 4 up dodge, or I can try that extra 3 up because I've got 4. I don't care if I lose 1 early. Whereas if you've got 3 rerolls and you have to burn 1 early, it's like, no, I'll let myself turn over there.
Well, to be honest with you, Graham, I don't even know if this team is the one anyway. I've sent it an invite, but according to this, it's in a league, the OYBBL, and the coach is called Mick the Geek, and the actual coach's real name is Danny Marsden. So who knows what's going on there? Who knows what's happening? Has he signed this thing up for 2 leagues? Possibly. I guess we'll find out soon enough. But either way,
if that team isn't here, sorry, didn't mean to give you grief.
Who are we thinking then with regards to being up in the mix this season?
Right. So I'd put. That Norse team looked spicy. I reckon he's going to do well. You like a bit of human. You've got a bit of variety. I think you might suffer against the lizards, and having 3 of them might be a problem for you. Vampires are going to be terrible. Ogres I expect to be terrible. What's he called? The dwarves are a good roster, but Charles doesn't play the game very much. So even though he's got a high level, he doesn't seem like, whenever we've seen him play, he's not basically been amazing at it, which sounds really horrible, but he's admitted himself, like, when we're trying to play, I was going to try to teach, before the lockdowns kicked in, I was going to try to play Blood Bowl with him, and he teach me bolt action, but that went the way of.
Well, I mean, it's kind of difficult to screw dwarves up, though, isn't it? Really, you just base
Yeah.
everything and roll blocks.
Yeah, so I think this will be one of his better teams, but I still think.
I think the Orcs will probably do all right, even though they've got a bit of a fruity build.
Yeah,
It's kind
I
of
think the Orcs
difficult
will be all right.
to lose with
Humans
Orcs.
will be all right. Orcs, undead, Norse. The two Liz.
Got 3 lizard teams.
I'd say because Sophie doesn't try to win the game; she plays to have mental madness fun. That tends to lead to a downfall.
Yeah. I think
Kenny has got an odd roster.
Kenny
and
needs
Mike
to change his
Till.
roster if he wants to be in with a chance of winning, I think, really.
I don't like Kenny's roster for the way he'll want to play. The Chaos are a good roster. I don't know how much he's played Chaos. So if I was so we've got Human, Orc, Undead, Norse, Lizard. I'll put the Chaos in there. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I've got 2 left. Just because I've got to pick someone, the person who isn't here that's playing Skaven in 2 leagues. And Charles, why not get Charles in there?
Yeah, I think
no, I've got to have my Salt Brother. We'll drop the Skaven who isn't here and have my Salt Brother. Get involved, Kenny. I believe.
All right. Well, that was your upcoming season of Blood Bowl. So best of luck, everyone. I expect the Brotherhood of the Bounce will be doing a more in-depth look at the upcoming games and that kind of thing at some point. But that's all the teams. And thanks, Graham, for joining me.
No problem. Thanks for having us.